Show. Yeah, we got the card back there delineating the name of the show, and we have an amazing guest tonight. Somebody I've wanted on the show since we got picked up again for this season. The one and only Steev Riccardo, folks.
Hello. How are you?
Boston icon here. He's lived the dream. He's grown up here in Massachusetts, and then he's traveled to the California regions. And he's worked in the music industry, and he's seen bands live, and he's hosted Gangrene for a little while in California and on one of their first tours, right?
They stayed at my house.
On their first?
Well, they were on tour. I saw all their gigs out there in California when they played. I've been friends with Chris for a long time, though. Chris is one of my favorite people. I've known him since the early 80s.
I mean, the Gangrene should be on the state flag for Massachusetts.
Yeah, they're one of the, not just Massachusetts, they're one of the best American hardcore bands in the history, punk hardcore.
I do. And I think John Sachs and Ian King in the FU's band should also be, they're playing tonight, as a matter of fact.
I did get to work with the FU's and the Straw Dogs when they were on Enigma. So yes, definitely, "Young Fast Iranians" I think is one of the best songs ever to come from the Boston music scene.
Oh, neat.
Young Fast. The FU's did it, and then the Straw Dogs redid it.
Kick ass. Yeah. So they're playing at Zuzu, right?
They're at the Middle East, right next door. We're in Cambridge.
I know, and they're playing in like an hour.
Yes, they are.
So an hour after the show, the FU's are playing. The one and only FU's.
Guttermouth is headlining that show.
One of Boston's greatest bands. I got to put some oil on the wheels on the bottom of this chair. It's what I get for letting the interns run the show. But we're here live, and like I say, I have Steev Riccardo, the one and only. He has his own podcast at this point now that he's doing. He's also got his own record.
That's the YouTube page right there.
This is the YouTube page for the Blowing Smoke with Twisted Rico podcast that you do almost every few weeks.
Every week, every single week, every Monday on Apple, Spotify, Anchor, you name it. The show comes out every week.
This is a dedicated.
I usually have guests, and basically, it's my life right now. Basically, I love talking to people like we're talking right now.
To do a weekly podcast takes commitment.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Right. And you've been Zooming. You Zoom, I think. So.
I do Zoom, or I prefer to have live guests. I've recorded at several different studios. I started it in Pittsburgh, did the first 7-8 episodes there. Then I did some up in Galaxy Park in Salem with Richard Marr. Then I recorded with Herb Marsiglio over at New Alliance.
Super
and then
cool.
Nick Z at New Alliance, and more recently
cool.
Mike Nash at Voice Motel.
Wow.
Has done the last probably like 50 episodes.
Gee whiz.
I'm up to 169.
169 weekly episodes.
Yeah.
And how did it start in Pittsburgh?
I was working when I stopped managing bands, which is 2018. After being a manager for like 20 years, I didn't know what to do with myself, so I started working at Baby Loves Tacos, which my friend Zach owns. And he kept telling me, "You got great stories, man. You should do a podcast." And he kept telling me over and over again. And finally, I found this guy to produce it, and I started a podcast. And that was January 2019. I've been doing it ever since.
Wow.
And I'm going to do it till in the words of Freddie Mercury, till I'm bloody well die.
You heard it first here, Cambridge. Plus, the guys here at the Middle East, right? I mean, you were, chit-chatting with the owner over there, the brothers.
I was.
There. I guess they say that the Middle East Cafe, if you haven't heard the breaking news, I guess it's going to become hotels, but it's also going to have a music venue involved in it. And it's the good news, this is under the radar stuff, but the good news is we heard it from the owner himself that it's going to take a few years.
I was going to scoop this on my show on Monday, but I might as well do it on your show. So it's going to be open for at least 2 years.
Well, we hope.
So that's really good news, because I would hate to see all those people lose their jobs and all the bands have one three less rooms to play. Because Sonia's part of the equation too. So
formerly TT and the Bears.
Yeah, one of my favorite all-time clubs, TT the Bears.
Yeah,
love that place.
Oh man, I played a lot of shows there.
I miss TT's.
And saw a lot of shows. I saw Naked Reagan on their first tour for the Jettison album.
They're still making music, man.
I know.
Band.
Yeah, Chicago
band,
Chicago. One of the few things from Chicago that's cool. I don't know.
Hey, Liz Fierce from Chicago.
Okay, there you go.
Veruca Salt.
Are they too?
Yeah.
Somehow I knew they were going to be in the conversation.
The band Chicago.
Can you fight the Seether, Steev? Tell us about. Tell us a Veruca
Louise
Salt
Post
story.
is one of my favorites. I wish I could have met.
Nina Gordon.
Yeah, Nina is cool, but I love Louise Post. I always wanted to meet Louise, and I never met her.
Oh.
She's like one of my all-time favorite rockers.
They're from Chicago, huh?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Huh. And did you manage them, or were you?
No, I never met them. But I saw Veruca Salt live. But like I said, I'd love to meet Louise Post.
Yes.
She's awesome.
And I asked
Great
the question,
songwriter, great musician.
Whether or not you can fight the Seether. I guess you.
I'm a volcano guy.
I guess you got.
Get it?
I do. These are good. Yes.
It's funny, we're sitting here and all these people are walking by. Hey, how you doing?
Oh, you're talking about the.
We're on Mass Ave.
You're talking about the Lonely Fans.
There you go. We're on Mass Ave in Cambridge.
These are the Lonely Fans.
Wow, you really. I like that shot.
Hey, we've been doing this, man. This is the Disney angle. Dedicated to those who fought and served in the cleavage. Sometimes, or the hair. Sometimes you get a good glimpse of the hair. This is the extreme close-up. So this is like if we were showing.
It is bright in here. I should probably put my shades on too.
If someone's pulling out like, oh, you got to look at this, nowadays you scan your tickets this way. It's like, okay, scan this. They're like, oh, you need to turn the brightness up on your phone.
This show's very casual.
This is also the future. I've gone on the diatribe that someday we're going to have little microchips in our little wrists, and that's going to take care of everything for us, and we'll be stacked and dealt with it.
I'm a fan of your work, by the way, too, Austin. You've got some great films.
Thanks,
and
man.
I've seen like a bunch of your stuff. It's fantastic. I tried to get you to cast me, but you still haven't casted me. But maybe someday you will.
You bet. We might be filming Saturday. This is again
the YouTube page.
Like the counter chess move is I'm going to promote your website.
You can go into Apple and find.
Who's in this cool picture? I'm going to click on it. We'll see what happens. But who's in this cool picture? You and this dude here, and he, right in the.
Oh, that's Bobby Dahl from Poison. That's my logo. It's an old photo taken in 1985 out in L.A. and I decided to use it as for my podcast.
Yeah, it's cool.
I know you're a big Poison fan.
I can't name more than like 2 songs.
It's okay. I know you're not a big Poison fan. You already told me, but it's all right.
Well, I'm
not taking it personally.
When I was in junior high and I was listening to music from that time, I was more into like "Done with Mirrors" by Aerosmith than I was with like "Wake Up and Say Ah" or whatever the name of that stupid. Album, but again, so let's cut to that. Let's cut to that.
Skateboarder. We didn't come here to rip bands.
No, we're here to.
I didn't come here.
It's
to
all
rip bands.
positive.
Maybe you're here to rip bands, but I'm not. I'd give you my honest opinion. There are some bands I don't like. If you want me to tell you who they are, but I don't think we should go there.
Yeah, we didn't run that through.
We should stay on the positive side.
Exactly. So. We'll get to the first question now.
Questions.
Your early DJ experiences,
Well, I was in college radio. I started at WDJM at Framingham State University. I was the music director there. I did a local music show called Rockin' in Boston, and I got to know all the local bands, and that's when I decided I wanted to work with bands, and that was the impetus for me wanting to work for record labels, because I just enjoyed being around band members.
You were listening to like singles and...
Yeah, we were spinning vinyl back then.
Yeah.
It was in the early
outlets.
80s. Yeah, bands I was playing then, I got to know them all. SSD Control and Gangrene and the New Models. and the neighborhoods and the outlets and the FUs and
Knock Me Down Again was
November
a cool
Group.
song.
I was playing November Group, and Alvin Long has become one of my closest friends now. He was the drummer in November Group. Mickey Bliss, who was a local booking agent here in Boston for years. I played their music. I was really into the Boston music
You think
scene.
Mickey's going to tune in?
If Mickey knows about this, he'll be watching.
Nice.
He's a great guy.
I mean, you got a lot of fans. I'm kind of like an up and comer. I'm a kind of new guy on the block in terms of trying to build a fan base. But honestly,
I think you're destined for stardom.
I'd rather be behind the camera though. I leave the acting for the cast members. And so all right, let's realize that the show is moving on here, and you gotta be quick.
I realize that.
You like cats, I like cats, so there's gonna be,
Since I last saw you, I have a new cat, Camden, Maine is his name.
Oh wow!
And he's 2 years old, and he's a rescue cat that we found in the streets in Dorchester. Kitty Angels, a great organization. Got them, and Lisa hooked me up with him. And the minute I met him, I'm like, he's my cat, because my previous cats, Angel City and Morrow, passed away at 19 and 18.
Both of them.
Yeah, not together, but 1 year apart. But they were 19 and 18. I had them their entire life. So I'm very happy to have Camden, Maine now.
I mean, to think that we could lose a kitty and that's and two in the same, roughly the same year frame. That must be tough on you. I feel your pain, my friend. I mean,
I have their ashes, so they're still with me.
How many cats do you own at the present?
Camden is my only cat. Cam, I call him, and
just one.
Over the years, there's been Jazz, there's been Lennon, there's been Alley Cat, there's been Morrow, there's been Angel City, and now there's Camden.
Oh my gosh, Angel City. That's a cool name. Now, these other cats, they all lived long lives and then passed away? Or?
Lennon only lived 7 years. He had a heart problem. I knew that when I got him in a pet store in New York. I found him when they used to have cats in pet stores, which I'm glad they don't do anymore. In this state. Some states they do. And I knew he wasn't going to live a long life. The vets told me that right away. But he lasted 7 long years. And he was a good cat right up until the end, Lennon.
Wow. Is that, named after
yes, he was.
The musician or the
he was
Russian...
a member of the Plastic Ono
the Russian
band.
Guy.
No.
Plastic Ono band.
Not the Russian guy.
No, of course not. But we should be rushing to ask you more questions here. There were a few emails that were sent in here. They wanted to ask you if you preferred American fries, French fries, or sweet potato fries.
I don't think I can go. I go a day without French fries. I love French fries, and I can make my own fries too. But I love French fries. When I lived in Pittsburgh for 5 years, I have to say they had the best French fries of anywhere I ever lived. I don't know why, but you could get fries in so many different locations there.
Who knew?
And I've been addicted to fries and potato chips my entire life. And our host is left.
We're birds of a feather, my friend. Now, do you prefer the steak fries, a real nice thick potato?
I like fresh cut fries. I don't like frozen fries.
Kind of mildly fried, not too like.
Yeah,
I don't like them overly fried.
I don't know about that because most fries are deep fried. I mean,
yeah, but you just have them in there for 2 minutes and then you pull them out. They're kind of a little underdone. I like them that way, and then boom, you just got pure potato meets just a little
I like
fried.
ketchup and sometimes mayo, and malt vinegar is really good on fries.
I've never tried that. That sounds
very
a little
good.
bit...
The English way.
Aha. Speaking of the Queen, so I guess the Queen died today. That's sad news for the UK. I have to email half my British friends are all broken up.
Long live the Queen.
Her Majesty is...
Excuse me. God bless the Queen.
Her Majesty has departed, and all my British friends are not going to be able to, I'm not sure they can face a new day without the Queen. But they're going to try. Besides, what was she?
I wish them well.
I think she was 96. So that's,
She was up there.
yeah. But God bless the Queen, and hail to the
There's going to be a king apparently now.
And what do you think of Johnny Rotten? Just out of curiosity. Many questions.
I
we
like
could
the
ask.
Sex Pistols.
Yeah.
Bodies, great song.
What do you mean, just one song? Their whole first-
Bodies. I mean, every time I hear it, I just the part where they just go into the fast part in the middle. I just I can't stay.
Every song on that record
I go insane. It's
every song on that record is incredible.
Absolutely. I agree.
Never mind the bullets.
I'm sorry, I just said one song, but Bodies is
Like the song New York. For the longest time, I didn't know what that was, but then somebody told me, and I kind of heard the lyrics, and you kind of realize, I guess it's about the New York Dolls. The song New York on that. But every song is
I didn't
classic.
know that. I'm learning things from you, Austin.
Every song on that is classic. Johnny Rotten, we need you to take over out there in what do they call the British people? Those Londoners, who knows? What do you think of this movement? What do they call it? The steampunk? What do you think of steampunk, Steve? What do you think of steampunk? You know much about it?
No, I don't.
Me either. Next topic.
To me, punk is punk.
Yeah. So
You
let's see.
start coming up with all these different terms, but there's punk and there's hardcore, and there's hardcore punk. So it's quite the same to me.
But isn't there like thrash?
Well, that's metal.
Like DRI, the
These
band
are- these are
Dirty
just-
Rotten
These
Imbeciles.
are just my opinions, by the way.
DRI.
Yeah, DRI was like
They're
they
like
were a crossover
speed
band.
metal.
They
right?
crossed over though. They were kind of punk
Right.
and metal. They were a crossover band.
And now Gangrene, when they started right off the bat.
Punk and hardcore, and they also went metal.
I know. Yeah, they kind
the
of.
Roadrunner years.
Well, hey, you gotta try to expand your market. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, lots of these rock and roll dudes do the rock, and then they do like country and stuff, and then they have a ballad. Fucking Home Sweet Home. Set the Palladium with lighters and all that. Again, these are the lonely fans out there. As you can see, there's a couple over there that we keep on waving to, and with no luck, hey, two single girls out there. Hey, we need guests. Just kidding. So let's see. Enigma, Roadrunner, Giant, Metal Blade. You worked for all of those record labels.
I did, in fact.
James Sherry, are you watching this dude? I mean, like, all my friends in Britain, they're like, they're the hair's standing up on the back of their necks. They're like Metal Blade. Didn't Diamond Head get signed to that band? To that label? So many great bands on Metal Blade. And I'm not just talking about Metallica.
I'll tell you about a few I worked with at Metal Blade because that was my favorite. 2 years I only worked there, but they were 2 memorable years.
Before they were in Tarzana.
I was
Sherman
in
Oaks.
Sherman Oaks in the Valley, but I worked with Fates Warning, great band.
See, tell them, Mike.
Lizzie Borden, DRI, Princess Pang. They were short-lived, but it was fun. UFO, I got to babysit Phil Mogg when he came to the States for 2 days. 2 of the best days of my life, hanging out with Phil. Many other bands. Intruder, Viking. There's a lot of bands. I could... Armored Saint. So it was a great 2-year run for me. Brian Slagle, by the way, the owner of Metal Blade, is one of the coolest guys in the music business.
Tell the audience.
Coolest. Brian Slagle is one of the coolest guys in the music business. How's that?
That's incredible.
He found basically Slayer, Metallica, and all those bands. Put him on Metal Massacre 1, and the rest is history. I think that came out 40 years ago. I always tell people that Metal Blade was one of my favorite labels that I worked for. So this is not anything new. I really enjoyed working there. It was a really good vibe there. I met a lot of good people working there, and I have great memories. I have great memories of all the jobs I had. It's ironically my least favorite was when I worked for a major label. I worked for A&M Records for a long time, and no offense against the company, but I enjoyed independent labels more than the major.
But that was
More
maybe
authentic to me.
Wasn't that toward the tail end of the 90s and stuff?
Yeah, that was right up until my last job working for a label technically, because I did work for another label.
You had your own label.
Yeah, I
in the
ran
2000s.
Red Car Records for a little while, and I worked at Get Hip for a short period of time. But A&M, when I left there in February of '97, that was the end of my my record label run.
Just have to stand up and stretch the legs a little bit. And now you have your own podcast.
It's a very unorthodox host we have here.
Sorry. Like literally, like I was getting cramp. The Twisted Rico, Blowing Smoke with Twisted Rico podcast you've had since January 2019.
Yes.
So that's
before that, I had a management company for 20 years called Twisted Rico Management. And that's where the name comes from.
And I think that needs to be, the brand that you continue, moving forward. Maybe you see some bands, maybe you sign some.
Are you telling me you want me to
acts.
start managing bands again?
Yeah, or at least signing them to your label. Signing them to your label. Alvin Long's got a label, so why shouldn't you? Alvin, we love you, man. You had a guest.
Alvin.
I kept texting him. I'm like, bring Alvin.
You did?
No.
Because I would have asked Alvin to come over here with me if you wanted me to ask.
Well, that's because I wanted you myself, Steve. Because I think
you got me.
You're 10 episodes in one, and hopefully we'll have you on again.
Can I
soon.
plug a couple bands I used to manage? Because I managed some really great bands. The Charms, for a long, long time. The Love Me Nots. I mean, these are two really great garage rock bands. First band I ever managed was 3.5 Girls. Caged Heat, I managed for years.
Come on.
Jill Chili Kurtz, she was one of a kind. I worked with Continental, Rick Barton's band, Vulgarity.
Half of my fan base was like, just the Ping, Caged Heat. Oh my God, I saw them live. I played shows, people played shows.
Jill was really something, She
played the Middle East.
The little
TTs
Walter harmonica stylings that she had were incredible.
But they were based in Alston too, I think. Caged Heat. Right?
They were the Boston band.
Yeah.
I played at O'Brien's a lot. That's probably why you think they're from Alston. They played a lot of those clubs a lot. Mm-hmm. Every club.
Shout out to Caged Heat wherever you are.
Chili Kurtz.
I got a friend who he adores Mr. Airplane Man.
I love Mr. Airplane Man. Margaret.
Tell your audience what you know about,
I love the band. I mean, they're not active right now, but they have a lot of great records that they put out over the years. They just a punkified blues, just like Caged Heat. That whole punkified blues. You take the blues, man, and you throw the punk in there, smash Iggy and Little Walter together, and you have the punkified blues, man. And that Mr. Airplane Man epitomizes that. Margaret's a fantastic musician.
That's a question there from John Kay, my friend in L.A. at this point.
John Kay, the former singer of Steppenwolf.
Well, you could call him that.
Steppenwolf was still together, so
Another question got emailed to me last night. It's about 8 o'clock at night. I get a strange email. I don't even know who it came from, but they ask whether or not you like lobster rolls.
It's kind of weird. People might laugh about this, but I don't eat lobster because I just have a funny feeling about the way they're boiled alive and things, and it always bothered me, just being honest there. I don't eat, I was a very strict vegetarian, but I've kind of fallen off that wagon a little bit, but I haven't eaten beef or pork in a long, long time. And that has nothing to do with music.
So you'll never probably eat a lobster again?
Probably not, no.
Awesome. And so we were going to talk about some of the Tang label bands. Did you ever see the Lemonheads play live?
Yeah, many, many times. I've actually hung out with Evan. It's been a while since I've seen him in person, but
come on, this is what we this is what we paid money to hear. We want to hear about Evan.
Well, I never worked with Evan, but I love the Lemonheads.
Tell him about the Lemonheads.
They're one of the great bands ever to come from Boston, and I think Curtis has done a great job. I mean, Bullet LaVolta and the Lemonheads, especially, two of my favorite bands. And I didn't get to work with either one of them, but I think that they're They were fantastic band. You know, Lemonheads is still active. You know, they've changed the lineup a lot. You know, it's a shame about Ray when Juliana played bass on the whole
Great record. That's a great album.
To me, is one of the best records. But I like Lovey too, and I like Lick when Ben Diley was in the band. Ben was on my podcast, and Ben, one of my most popular shows. Actually, you can find that on Apple, Spotify, wherever. You know, I think the Ben Diley interview is
on the YouTube page. Blowing Smoke with Twisted Rico. He has Nat Friedberg giving an interview, and he has Ben Diley.
I've interviewed a lot of people on my show.
Yeah, and the best is yet to come.
Frank Myers on my show that's coming out on Monday, and he's got quite a story, man. Street Walking Cheetahs from L.A., long-time great band, but he's played in a lot of other bands. He's been doing stuff with Eddie Spaghetti from the Super Suckers lately, Warrior Soul. He's got a bunch of good solo stuff, and that show's coming out on Monday. I'll plug it again. You know, you can hear it on Apple, Spotify, Anchor. That show will have a YouTube video because it was recorded on Zoom. So I put the Zoom interviews up on YouTube. So you will be... Frank actually pulled his guitar out and played a live track. That's never happened on my Zoom before. He just said, "Can I play a song?" And I'm like, "Play a song."
Well, we can do that here.
I didn't bring my guitar with me. Sorry.
If you're Nat Freeberg out there, and you want to come on sometime and wow the audience,
Nat's a great guest. He was a great guest.
An automatic invite anytime you want. I know he lives locally too.
Yeah, Nat was on my show.
All those Tang guys,
Upper Crust, Titanics, Satanics, and so on. He's freeloader.
Yeah,
he's really.
I have all his new stuff. I love it.
Rates.
I can't wait till he plays live again soon. So Gangrene stayed at your house in Los Angeles on their first tour?
Yeah, it was 85, yeah. No, it wasn't their first tour of L.A., but they did. It was the alcohol, Another Wasted Night lineup, the Stilfen brothers, Walter and Chris. Walter actually was playing in the Outlets at the time, and the Outlets and Gangrene were both on tour simultaneously.